Hey guys, this is Anthony from Fat Tony Photography. I'm gonna do a little video showing you guys how I process the raw photographs that I take and then move them into, we'll get into the final product where we go at. You'll generally see on my Facebook page or what'll be in the blogs. Just a little kind of behind the scenes look of what makes these shots look the way that they do for anyone that's interested in checking it out. I personally use a program called Capture One Pro. It was originally developed for Phase One medium format digital cameras that are like retardedly expensive. I don't know, somewhere like the 30 grand range if you just want to buy like a part of it. But they've opened it up recently to for anything that'll shoot in RAW, and I like it a lot better than what I've used with Adobe. Like Camera Raw is really good from Adobe. Lightroom's really good from Adobe, so don't think that this is like the only program you can use. It's just the one that I prefer to use, and they don't charge me a monthly fee to use it. Just a one-time deal, and then it's good to go. But here we go. This is a different version of the photo that I uploaded the other day. After going through the shots last night, I found this one that I really enjoyed looking at, and mostly because like the longer the exposure there, like 1 second, it's this whole area just seemed really interesting to me. I like the way that it ghosted around this support for the pier, and we'll see what we can do to make this shot look really, really good. Um, you'll notice here, this is like in this program, this is where all your shots kind of hang out at, and you can work with everything. And when you load them in, and this is movable all around the screen, but we'll just get to the basics of pulling the color out of here. First off, we're going to go into like the HDR portions of this, and you notice it's really dark in the pier underneath here, and you don't really see any of the detail of that. Just try to bring a little bit of that out, grabbing this little shadow slider here in the high dynamic range tool, which just does a really good job. And I'm not going to bring it up a whole bunch, but I am going to bring it up some. And now you can see that we brought out some of that detail in the pier, and it's pretty much brightened up the whole shot to an extent. Clarity comes out a little bit more. It's getting to be quite beautiful. And the sun was like really killing it that day. This evening was absolutely gorgeous, and the picture just kind of flattens it out because the camera that I use isn't like super mega amazing in low light to really capture how it looks, but you can take this little saturation slider and you see it's starting to bring a few more of the colors out. And that was a little bit more what it looked like out there. And we'll grab the exposure, which looks about right. I could probably bump the contrast up just a little bit, just to darken some areas. And bring up the clarity some, and you'll see this in this area here. You'll see a little bit more of the clarity come in, and especially if you look in and around the open areas in the pier railing. That's really where it kind of shows off its awesomeness. Don't need that much. Just to really bring out, you can see now that this log is completely soaked. It had been raining all day. And just bump the structure up just a little bit. Really define some of these lines here from when the shore break was hitting and washing all over the place. Then we're going to take the vignetting, and this is going to really just, like, I've got it set up for elliptic on crop. And what this is going to do is just going to bring in, it's going to darken the exposure in the corners and just kind of focus the viewer's attention on the pier and the general area of action. Let's see what it's going to look like if I pull the brightness just a little bit. The exposure could go down one. Almost. There we go. we're going down about a quarter of a stop in the exposure. And that's pretty much exactly, that shot just, was a good solid shot to start out with, but that's how I come up with, how I get some of these shots. I mean, I just sat there with a tripod on the camera, pressed the button and prayed to God I didn't get hit by water, even though I did, but the camera didn't take it. It's all good. Well, since we dropped that exposure down, we lost some of the detail here. So let's move that around. And then I'm going to take this highlight slider. Yeah. Let's bump that up a notch. Now the colors are really popping exactly how we kind of want them to look. And one more thing that I do from time to time, especially if I've got like a really bright sky, and this is kind of what I want your eye to be focused on, is the awesome layer tools here. We're going to add a quick layer there. And you can paint it on with the brush, but I don't like doing that for the most part, unless it's a really detailed area that I need to change the exposure on. But a quick gradient mask, you can just click, drag that out, and then we're going to that and just pull the exposure down just a little bit. Saturate it just a little bit. See, I'll pull some of that purple out. We'll go add another layer here. I'm going to do a gradient from the bottom up. And this kind of simulates gradient ND filter without having to actually purchase the whole deal for gradient ND. And there. And this will allow me to bump the exposure up just a little bit. And take the saturation up in the sand, which will brighten the colors of the sand and that water up. Bring all that purple out. Add a little bit of clarity in there too. Kind of see the lines in the water here as it was drawing back in the sand. And just bump the structure up just a little bit. Boom! You've got the photo. Exactly how you guys essentially saw the other one on Facebook. Yeah, so I'll do a few more of these, or if there's anything else you guys really want to look at or hear or see about, just let me know, and I'll run through and show you guys exactly what it is that I'm doing to make these things work.